Welcome back to another episode of the Connected Coach Academy. On today's show, we are going to be diving into one of the most important elements of any coaching session, yet it's incredibly underutilized. It's something that only takes a few minutes, but can provide immense value to every single person that's involved, and with that, help you grow your business. So when you leave this episode, I want to make sure that you fully understand how to do this and how to put it into play, how simple it is. So what am I talking about? It's the magic of video recaps. I'll tell you this right up front. If you only do this in your coaching sessions, your business is going to skyrocket because the majority of you out there are so hyper-focused on video analysis and these disparate moments that you lose the opportunity for these very, very simple actions that capture the key learning moments and the emotionality of these coaching sessions. So that said, if you stick with me to the end of the episode, we're going to be diving into more of why this is important, what it looks like, and then how to put it into play. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to make sure that you understand is that retention is a skill, just like anything else. It can be taught, it can be learned, and it can be refined. You want to give your athletes as many opportunities as possible to deepen their ability to retain information. Why? Because if they can, they're going to remember more, obviously, practice more effectively, and get better faster, which is going to help you grow your business. Absolute no-brainer. But you need to be in the habit of utilizing recaps. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Parents also love it. So if you're working with junior athletes, you need to make sure that you're giving each and every athlete the opportunity to summarize what they're learning throughout the session. That way mom and dad can be on the same page and you reduce the typical helicopter parent challenges that we all face as coaches, because we know when the junior athlete leaves the coaching session, the parents are all over them. What'd you learn? How was it? And usually that interaction is not very effective, which leads to confusion, burnout, and all these other problems. And you as a coach are kind of stuck in the middle, which sucks. Additionally, emotion can be conveyed in these videos. And again, we'll talk more about what it looks like in just a moment, but you want to be utilizing video for more than just analysis, because you can capture those highs and lows, but hopefully a lot of those high moments where things click in, the athletes can then review those moments when they're in their kind of darker times and not necessarily feeling like they're on track. It gives them the ability to look back, see what they're doing, hear it in their own words, and feel those feels again. So to wrap up the why here, effectively, retention equals retention. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you can help athletes remember more, they're going to practice more effectively and get better faster, which is going to keep them as clients. So you're going to retain those clients, and that is the mark of a healthy business. Let's talk about some typical recaps, because if this is a new concept for you, you might be grasping onto a little bit what I'm saying, but let's just give you some practical examples. One would be a post-session recap. It's incredibly simple. We're going to cut to a video here in a moment to show you exactly what I mean. The post-session recap is going to be done in two ways. In fact, any recap can be done this way, but really the post-session ones, this is where the gold comes in. So what you're going to do is you're simply going to put the phone up, you're going to be videoing your athletes, and you're going to be asking them, what did they learn? You want to have open-ended questions. The questions that you ask, you're going to refine over time as well, but examples would be literally, what's the key takeaway from today? What were the changes that we made? How are you planning to implement them? What were some of the challenges that we faced? What do you want to remember most from this session? And is there anything else that you might want to share with other people that might view this video? Super, super simple. You're going to keep that video to 1 to 2 minutes if you can, okay? Any longer than that, nobody's going to watch it, so keep it short. You were just describing this start and stop drill where we get little vertical there, good, where the T, and then we get to that position where we really flatten it. So what did you describe just now?
So what I was saying is that, like, in order for me to make contact, the old Pete swing would be where I would turn and leave the club behind me, and then that would lead to basically the club going outside the ball.
Okay.
And then I would, get rid of it late, and that would lead to all the right stuff and hosel and all that stuff.
The other type of post-session recap is where the athlete then takes the video and videos you demonstrating maybe some more of the technical movements that they're not quite there yet with. What this does is it gives this holistic approach that allows you to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that you can calibrate what they're leaving with right before they end.
All right, so what we discovered kind of at the end after a bunch of really positive changes is the order of operations and the way that you get set up, because you were kind of putting the body in, then the club, then you're making all these kind of what I'm hoping are micro adjustments, but they ended up being bigger ones. So what we're trying to do is we're gonna get that club face pointed first, even if it's open or square. Either way, we're putting the face in first and building our stance around that. So if you look at me now, as I'm putting the club head in, my chest and my eyes are looking where I'm going. Then I'm just kind of trying to build my stance and get comfy here. And that's generally how you're going to set up. You had a lot more success when you went that route rather than building your stance, then putting the club in. And this is for every shot, driver all the way on the pitch shots. Yep.
Now, to go back to number one, when you are videoing them, you obviously can chime in the background to make sure that you're filling in the gaps, because boy, when you start asking these questions, you are going to be shocked what you hear, because what you think they're going to take away a lot of times isn't, and you need to make sure that you calibrate it right before the end. There's also the mid-session recap. And so what I mean by this is that so many coaches are in the habits of only videoing swings or movements that are maybe 3 to 5 second long videos. But there's so many drills and exercises that we're asking these athletes to do as well. And I want to make sure that you're capturing these key learning moments. Now, a lot of coaches have the concern when they start using CoachNow, especially, well, you're asking me to video the whole session? Like, absolutely not. No one will do that, and no one will watch it, more importantly. But you have coached enough, and you're going to continue to coach enough, where you understand where these key moments are coming. And if you just had one, you always have the opportunity to kind of restage it, reenact it, to make sure that they take away the key elements from that session. So again, don't get hung up on just videoing swings or short technical movements. Utilize video in more powerful ways. Just quickly, this works for camps, clinics, group scenarios, one-to-one scenarios. It works for everyone. So let me give you a quick camp example. Because you're not going to be able to video each and every kid in some sort of recap where it's individualized to them because it's a group, what you're going to do is you're typically going to video yourself introducing the day, highlighting a few drills where you can interview a few of the kids, and that way everybody gets to see what you are working on. Or you can get up and demonstrate something during the day and have the kid video you. Very easy. And at the end of the session, you are going to essentially wrap up what was done today. So that gives you 3 different opportunities for what we would call a recap or a summary to make sure that everybody that's involved gets that ROI. So again, if you are somebody that's doing camps, clinics, whether it be adult or junior, it doesn't matter. It gives you a great opportunity to tie everything into a bow and make sure they have things to review later. Now, the pro tip here, if we go back to the mid-session advice, where we're not just capturing these disparate technical movements, keep the camera rolling. So if somebody's hitting a ball, throwing a ball, whatever it is, if you would normally stop the camera, give yourself the opportunity to ask some questions. How did it feel? How was the result? What do you want to do next time? Now you've got a 30-second to maybe 1-minute video that not only has the movement, but all the context associated with it, and it just absolutely captures that key learning moment. So as we wrap up here, I'm going to keep it short. It's literally so simple, but I want you to take action. At least 1 recap per session. So next time you get into a session, hopefully you're utilizing CoachNow, because we don't just harp on the analysis part. We've built a platform that allows for this. You'll already be in the athlete space, so it's incredibly easy just to hit the big orange button and then start asking some questions, and then in turn, hand the camera back over to them. So you're always going to have 2 videos, but at the very least, please just do 1 where you're asking the athlete what they learned. We've had so much feedback recently from coaches that have been adopting this where they didn't normally do it, and they said, you know what? If I only used CoachNow for recaps, it would be worth the money and beyond what I'm paying each and every year, because my athletes absolutely love it. Seriously, it's that simple. Just turn on the camera, ask some questions, make sure you drop it in their space, and your athletes and your business will love you for it. So as we wrap up here, if you liked what you heard and you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing, add a comment. We want to make sure that we're driving this content forward for you and that you don't miss a thing. If you're on the typical podcast apps, please follow, rate, review, share the episodes with your friends, because we are here to continue to move the coaching industry forward, to help you as coaches save time, generate more income, and coach where and when you want. So the last thing I'll share with you, if you're looking for new technology and you haven't checked out CoachNow yet, you can jump into a free 7-day trial over at CoachNow.io. And you can also check out all of our other educational resources at CoachNow.io/education. So as always, please put the action items into play. It's incredibly simple. If you do nothing else, that one recap is going to change your business. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.